It is indeed a very blessed Thursday, a beautiful day indeed, another day that the Lord has made, and I'm grateful. I'm excited to be with you once again on this platform on Africa USA Radio. As always, as you know, every Thursday I bring you great, amazing artists. I mean, not artists, rather authors, guest authors every Thursday. And today I have one of those dynamic women, amazing women, women of power, indeed, who is very much loaded and is not only an aspiring author, but she's a woman who is involved in so many things. She's the founder of Wow, Women of Worth, and she's also the founder of Fhulufhelo Events. She's the woman who believes in empowerment, in youth empowerment, both youth empowerment and women empowerment. So we're going to hear a lot about the things that she's doing. And also, she's been diagnosed with a very, very rare disease called endo, which is affecting 1 in 10 women. Most women don't know about this disease, this painful disease. But today, Sis Fulu is going to bring awareness to us of this type of disease that she's currently writing a book about. So I believe today, as women gather around, let's gather around and hear more about what this painful disease that is affecting 1 in 10 women is all about, and how do you manage it? How do you deal with it? Because most people are not really aware of. So we're going to have a great time. So stick around with us. Don't go anywhere as I bring in Usis Fulu right here on Africa USA Radio. Hello, Sis Fulu.
Good day, Sis Kelly.
How are you today?
I'm blessed, doing great. Thank you.
I can see that, and you look so beautiful.
Thank
You
you.
look so you
Thank
look so
you.
chilled and beautiful, I must
Thank
say.
you.
Yeah. Welcome to Africa USA Radio.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, for the first time, right?
For the very, very first time, yes.
For the very, very first time. We are so privileged. We are so honored to have you. And we are looking forward to being empowered by you today as you share with us, this very rare disease. And I must confess as well that as a woman, I didn't know there was something like that, something of that nature,
Um,
until I read your bio and I was like, wow, wow, wow. I believe that as women, we need to know more about this, because I started wondering how many women may be going through this kind of thing and are not even aware that they're dealing with this kind of a disease. But we'll get
yes.
to that. We will get to that because, like I said when I started, you are a woman of many things, many, many projects, many talents. You are a businesswoman. You are a woman of empowerment. You empower the youth. You just have a big heart, man. You just have a big heart that can accommodate so many things, which is very rare, for one person,
Yeah.
for one woman to be doing multiple things, so many things that you're doing, and still be able to focus, and bring balance to all these things. And we're going to talk about all that. But first and foremost, for those of our listeners and our viewers who may not know Usisfolo hore ke mang, can you briefly just tell us who is Sisfolo?
Sis Fulu, just this strong woman from Pretoria in South Africa.
Mm,
I grew up in Soulsville, and then I later moved into Soshanguve, that's also in Pretoria.
mhm,
I am a businesswoman. I started an events company called Follow Our Events,
mm,
whereby I deal with events coordinating. I do events deco, I do
mm,
catering, and then all your baked stuff, the cakes, the cookies. I do that. And we also specialize with equipment hire. And then on top of that, in 2016, I started a women only organization. And then
Okay.
I called it Women of Worth,
Mm.
whereby when I started, I was only dealing with the mature ladies and stuff. But then we found out later that the youth is joining us, which also doing youth empowerment currently. So Women of Worth deals with women of all ages. We help mostly when they need info about starting their own businesses. Since I've been in the industry and I have my own business, so I
Mm.
guide, I motivate, I encourage those ladies that want to start businesses. When it gets tough and they want to give up, I'm there. That's what I do. And then also with Women of Worth as an organization, I found out that most of the youth in the organization, they also want to start organizations.
Okay.
So it starts first with preparing them, to tell them, sometimes it's easy to see something and decide, I just want to do this because mama is doing that. So
Yes.
we prepare them and then also support them in their events. I support them
Mm.
in their events. I do attend when I'm available, make sure that the event is successful from the planning to everything about their event. So I make sure that it is successful. That's what I do. And then also 2016, I was diagnosed with endometriosis. And then when I did research about the disease, it just came that I had to share with the other ladies. I started
Mm.
first in Women of Worth. I had to share with the ladies for the signs and symptoms to look at. And then it grew. I just found myself talking to ladies, being invited to women's events, to churches, to school. Now I'm going to schools and we're doing a sanitary towel drive, whereby we will
Mm.
be doing endometriosis awareness and then we give the learners sanitary towels. So that's full.
Wow. Wow. See, I said it when we started that you're a woman of a dynamic woman, with a lot on his plate. And I'm amazed how you're able to do all those things, how you're able to have time to manage all these projects, and still be able to strike balance, between
I
all of
can
them. How do
say
you do
it's
that?
I can say it's by the grace of the Lord.
Mm,
And at some point I did have, still do have some, there'll be some problems here and there. But then I took it to the Lord, I prayed for a team that will have a heart for this project.
mm,
I have an amazing team. I have a strong support system, and I'm not alone. Like when I go back to them, I tell them this is just a pat on the back from the community, from God. But then when I stand there as Fulu, I represent Women of Worth. It's not only me, it's just a
mm.
whole lot of women behind me.
Sure, sure. So along the way, as you were doing this, God just decided, or you asked the Lord to give you a team of people who will align
Yes.
with your vision and help you. And that's how you're able to manage it smoothly.
Yes.
Mm,
That's
mm,
how I'm,
mm.
I'm 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 able to manage. So I
Sure.
did pray to say, God, give me people, because this is not easy. It's easy to give up.
I can imagine.
So
I can imagine with
yeah,
so many roles, to play and so many projects, it
yes,
could really be overwhelming. It could be frustrating,
yes.
I must say. So tell us now, what inspired Woman of Worth? What inspired you
Uh,
to start this movement, this women empowerment
a whole
organization?
lot of everything. I just see God working.
Mm,
Like I believe I use the scripture a lot, write the vision down. I used to write about this women organization when I grew up. I'd write that I'll be motivating women, I'll be encouraging women. I don't know where it came from, but then I have a lot of notes from there based
Mm.
on that. So in 2016, I decided, you know what, I've been writing this down. Let me call a small number of women. Let us sit down, pray, and talk about issues and see how it's going to work out. The very first event, we didn't even have speakers, it was just amongst ourselves, but
Wow.
it was so powerful. And we
Mm.
did pray for the event before. So that's how Women of Worth started. And then the ladies kept on saying, but Fulu, it's been long, we haven't been meeting. And then I decided, you know what? Let it not only be about the events, the meetings. There's something big here. What can we do? Because I found that on the site, I do have women who will come to me and say, Mama, I have a problem with this. My sister, I have a problem with that. So I decided, oh, okay, fine. Let's just make this a support based group whereby we will support each
Mm.
other. We will encourage each other. We'll just be there for each other. And that's how everything came up.
Mm. Mm. And when you started, like, how did you start? How many women did you have, and how has it progressed over the years, and the kinds of programs that you are doing in this Women of Worth?
Uh, the very first event, I think we were about 15 women.
Mm.
And then the last event that we hosted, we were around 70 or 80.
Wow,
But
it has
then
grown.
we invited even men, guys, into the event because it was an endometriosis awareness. I also
Oh.
wanted the males to also be there, to be, though this is a female disease, but then I felt that the husbands, the fathers, the brothers,
Mm.
they need to know about this so that they can support the sisters, the wives, and stuff. So I'm now calling everybody in. It's now even the next event that we're hosting, it's everybody, no gender restriction now.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. And where do you host these events? Where do they normally
We are
take
based
place?
we are based in Soshanguve, that's in Pretoria.
Okay. Is it one event, or do you go around like hosting it in different places in Soshanguve?
Uh, Globally, March is Endometriosis Awareness Month. So I
Mm.
make sure that in March I host an event, but then I do go out, I get invited to come and speak at other events. I only host
Mm.
one during the month of March, but then I do get called out at other events to come and speak. So
Oh,
even
wow.
there, I'll be going with my team, they'll be supporting me. So we going around, and then this year we started even going to schools in
Mm.
Soshanguve and Soulsville. So yeah, we do go around.
Sure, sure. You're doing a great work, I must say. You're
Thank
doing
you.
an amazing work,
Thank you.
and I'm just amazed. I'm fascinated by what you do, and not only are you doing women empowerment and youth empowerment, I think you also have a passion of helping in the arts, because I saw somewhere where you mentioned that you also assist an organization of poets in
Yes.
Soshanguve,
Yes.
called Something Poetic. How did that
Yes.
come about?
In Women of Worth, we have one lady, a
Mm.
daughter in a way, who started something poetic. She is a
Mhm.
poetess. She loves poetry.
Mm.
So, like I said, that we do assist this organization. I'll be helping them in their events and stuff. So she
Mm.
did ask me to come and say, Mama, please assist me with this. Can you please help us to manage the organization? So whenever, most of the time when they have poetry sessions, I'll be there to see how she's doing. And then, obviously, because I'm the mother here, after the event, I'll sit down with the daughter and say, this is where we need to change. This is what we need to
Ah.
improve. And well done on this and that. I was amazed.
Mm.
So that's how I get involved.
Mm. Mm. So
Mm.
you're actually playing a mentoring role to these
Yes.
young people, to these
To
young
these young people,
poets.
yes.
And also on Fulu R events, you also empower young people by giving them employment. How do you do that?
The events is industry, you cannot do it by yourself. When we
Hmm.
get an industry, I'll take some in the group. It depends on how big the event is. We'll take
Mhm.
some, and then, like I said, it's on a temporary basis. So it depends on when we have an event. We'll go, we work together, and then after that, it will be something just to say thank you for assisting.
Wow.
And then what we did last year, we decided, because like I do have I had a problem where it was bothering me that a lot of kids were coming to me, Mama, I don't have sanitary towels, Mama, I don't have toiletry. And I
Hmm.
wondered what could be done, what can I do? And then we
Right.
decided with my younger sister, let's bake scones and see
Hmm.
how it will go. And then we started to bake scones, and then we saw that's when we started baking, and then now I'm baking cakes, and then they do come in to assist.
Wow. Sure. And I think it's also part of alleviating the job situation that we have. You are creating jobs actually indirectly, so for these young people, so that they can at least have something to do. And like you say, in turn, you are able to thank them,
Yeah.
to reduce the frustration of not having a job, because that's one of the crises that we have in South Africa. You'll find that we have so many young people who don't have jobs, and they're sitting home not doing
Yeah,
much.
and it kinda like it doesn't sit well with me. Like when a child comes and say, "Mama, I don't have toiletry," because
Hmm.
sometimes the situation can get bad. You find
Ish.
that they end up have to do something extreme, something not good, something not
Yeah,
nice, just to
yeah,
get toiletry,
yeah.
just to get sanitary pads. So
Hmm.
even though it's not much, but then we're trying to
Can
see on
help.
how we can assist.
Mm, mm. I must applaud you. You are just doing something. And you know what also fascinated me is to realize that you received an award. You are an award-winning community builder. Oh my goodness. That's so
Yes,
amazing, you know?
yes.
And you are this kind of woman. I think many women and young women should look up to. In fact, when I read your bio, I saw a virtuous woman. You are such a virtuous woman, a woman with many talents, a woman who is endowed with so much power, and you don't sit on what God has given you, on what God has endowed you with,
Mm,
but you make the most of it, and you've got a big heart to share even with the community, with those who are around you, to help, the young people, to help women. Whatever you are able to do, you just do it. And it's so
yeah,
inspiring. And no wonder you received an award for, for the best community builder. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. And it's just recent in 2022, right?
yeah, that's just recent.
Yeah, how did it
And
feel like?
yeah, at first when I received the email, I was scared. And
Really?
then sometimes you'll be doing something and you think I'm just it's just a small thing, and then somebody
Yeah.
comes and say, "No, Fulu, but then this is big. You're helping us." Like I always tell the team, I said, I see it as a pat on the back from God. I see God saying, "Well done," and I also saw it as a motivation to say, "Don't stop. Continue with what you are doing." Because sometimes it's easy when you get recognition, when you get an award, to just now you start to relax, you see.
Relax,
So, but then for me,
exactly.
I felt that it's just encouragement on my part to say, "Follow, you are
Mm.
on the right track, actually.
Wow. Yeah,
Continue with
yeah,
this."
yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Sure. Like you say, it was a pat on the back from God saying, "Daughter, you are doing great. Keep
yes,
on doing it." Wow. But how did this come about? How did you actually end up getting this award?
I was nominated by a sister in the Lord, Dr. Dosia Sisana.
Mm.
She she nominated me, and then that's when I received an email and the news that you've been nominated. You need to come in.
Oh, wow, Sis Fulu. What an inspiration. What an inspiration. Yo, you should have brought that award so that we can see it here. But anyway, it's okay. Now, among all these many things that you are doing as a woman, as this dynamic woman of power, making such a great impact in your community, doing so many things. One of the things that, I found mind blowing was to realize that you are actually living with a disease called endo.
Yes,
You've been diagnosed with a
and
disease.
yes,
Yeah, and endometriosis.
endometriosis. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And I read on your bio that it's a very rare disease that affects 1 in 10 women, and it's a very painful disease, as you say. It's the first time I actually hear about this kind of disease. And
Mm,
we've got a lot of women who are having challenges with infertility, and
mm,
bleeding and all those kind of women uh, diseases that they go through. But I don't think most women are aware of this disease that you've been diagnosed with. And I want us to take time now to talk about this. What is endometriosis, and how were you diagnosed with this painful disease? How did you
uh,
find out about it?
uh, endometriosis, it's a disorder in the
Mm,
womb. Ne? It can affect any lady within the childbearing years, like
mm,
anybody who's seeing periods.
okay.
And when somebody has endometriosis, what happens is that the lining that lines the inside of the uterus now grows on the outside of the uterus.
Mm,
And
mm,
then normally what happens with the endometrium tissue is that if uh, a sperm and an egg do not meet, that
mm,
tissue will break and come out as your period. So, a person who has endometriosis, if there's no conception, that tissue will break down also to come out as a period. But then remember, here it also grows outside the uterus, meaning you will also bleed on the inside, and then you'll
mm,
have this pain that's unexplained, and then you don't know why, and then if they leave it for a long time it causes complications. So with me, what happened is that when I grew up, I do remember I used to have very heavy bleedings. Sometimes I'd
mm.
have bleedings for 7 to 14 days, like very long
Sure,
period. And
sure.
then when the parents took me to when my parents took me to see a doctor or something, they'll say, no, she's fine, she's growing up, it will change. Only to realize at a later stage that there was a root problem, there was a problem there. So what
Mm,
happened is that in 2007, I fell pregnant, but I did not know. I
mm,
got sick. And then when I got sick, I was taken into hospital, and then they told me that you're actually pregnant, but then the baby's heart stopped. So we have to
oh,
remove him or her. Like, you just got told that you're pregnant now, and then, but then we have to clean you and everything. I did not know. I also asked the doctor what caused that. There was no explanation. We do not know. We do not
mm.
understand what happened. And then one day I continued with life as normal. And remember, I did mention that before my periods were long
And
and
let me
very
ask you
heavy.
this. Let me ask you this. How
Yes,
many months were you pregnant?
2 months. It was eight
Oh, it
weeks.
was 8 weeks. Okay. Mm,
Yes.
mm,
And
okay.
then After the miscarriage, they said the pattern changed now.
Mm.
I was seeing the period 7 to 14 days. Now it came once a month. I went back to see the gynecologist because I was worried what happened, what changed.
Mm.
He said it's normal. There's nothing wrong with me. They did the test, they took the scans. There's nothing wrong with you. It went on for years until 2016 in November. I remember it was time for my periods. I felt extremely sick.
Mm.
I was bloated. The tummy looked like it's swollen, like I couldn't walk, I couldn't move. We went to see the doctor. The doctor referred me to hospital. When I went to hospital, they said to me, I have what they thought it's PCOS, that's polycystic ovarian syndrome. That's when you
Mm.
have a lot of cysts. And then they only gave me pain medications. You know, when they put you on the drip and everything, and the pain gets
Right.
better. But then from that on, every period was extremely painful. I remember
Mm.
there were sometimes during my periods where I'll be in the emergency room, and twice in my life I have overdosed on painkillers only because I was trying to take the pain away, but it was not going away. Like I kept on
Mm.
taking painkillers until I overdosed. So in 2018, one day I had an encounter, just a beautiful day on a normal day. The next day I wake up, my bladder decided, no, I'm no longer working. They took
Aye.
me to hospital because I'm pressed. I cannot pass. I cannot go to the bathroom. I cannot get relieved. So I had to go to hospital, and that lady that I found in the casualty room, she's the one who referred me to the right person who diagnosed me and told me that you have endometriosis. And then I
Mm.
didn't get a lot of explanation. It was like, for
Mm.
me, it was just Greek. It was, this word is a tongue twister. I don't know what's happening with me. They told me you're
Never heard
going
of it
into,
before.
yeah, I never heard of it. And then I had to
Mm.
go to surgery. All in all, I've had 7 surgeries to make this thing better because they said it had already spread.
Mm.
Endometriosis actually has 4 stages. And when they discovered mine, I was already on stage 4.
Hey.
So it was
Was
bad.
advanced.
And yeah, and then they told me that it does spread to other organs. That's why my bladder was not working. It did spread to my bladder, it does spread to your ovaries and stuff. It sticks to other organs in your body. So the doctor took me in, did those surgeries. But then I found out that the periods are still painful. Like, wow, I cannot live like this. I cannot live with chronic pain. What can I do? I decided, you know what, let me rather do a research by myself and find out exactly what's wrong with me. Because sometimes when you go to see a doctor, there's not enough time. The queue is long. You don't have time to ask everything and understand everything that you want to know. So I
Yeah.
decided, you
Mm.
know what, Fulu, you need to take this upon yourself. And
Mm.
this is my health. This is my life. The doctor, yes, is assisting me, and I cannot blame them to say they are not giving me answers. Let me rather do my part also. I
Yes.
decided to
Yes.
study about endometriosis so that I can know exactly what's wrong with me, so that
Mm.
I could be able to tell my family this is what is happening to me, and then they can also be able to support
Assist.
me, to
Yeah.
assist me.
Support. Yeah. Mm. Mm.
Yeah, so
Mm.
it's been a very long journey. That's how it started.
Mm.
That's when I decided to do the awareness. It's after I did my own studying, my own research and everything. And
Mm.
then I'll be reading on statuses, because I have a number of people due to the business and the organization. So my
Mhm.
status, there's a whole lot of people. I'll see a young lady complaining about bad periods, heavy bleedings and stuff. And then I do realize that, not to say this is a diagnosis, but there could be a problem.
The
There could be a
symptoms. Mm.
problem.
Mm.
Let's not sit on problems. Some things are not
Mm.
to be normalized. As a mother, you see a child suffering with extremely bad periods. You see a child suffering with heavy bleeding. Do something. some things, let's not normalize them, because if you
Mm,
listen to a lot of people, they'll say, no, she's like that. She grew up like that with a painful period. That's how it is. That's how she is, you know. So you'll hear a lot of people saying that. So with me, I feel you see something bothering you on your body, you see something you do not understand, do something about it. Do
mm,
not just
mm,
accept any answer. I mean, I do have a doctor that I go to, but I am doing my own research.
mm,
I changed
mm,
my diet. My doctor never told me to change my diet.
mm,
I did
mm,
my own research. I went, I did study, and then I joined also support groups for ladies living with endometriosis. That's where I got also some of the information to say this food is bad for me, this one is not bad for me, this is what I can live on. So
mm, mm, mm,
that's actually
mm.
my journey with endometriosis.
So, but is there any cure for the disease from what you know from the experience you went through? I mean, when you were diagnosed and you went to the hospital, were you told that there is a cure for this disease or there is no cure? It's something that you have to live with for the rest of your life.
Currently, there's no cure. From
Mm,
speaking to the doctors, from reading, from the support group, there's no cure. And then sometimes some people will say, why don't you just remove the uterus and stuff? But then remember, I did say it does spread. You'll find that you have
mm.
removed the uterus, but then it did spread to the bladder, it did spread to the intestines and stuff. So there's no cure.
So, in your case, which organs did it spread? Did it only spread to your bladder, or are there other organs as well that it ended up
My
affecting?
ovaries were affected. My
Mm,
fallopian tubes were affected. That's why I struggle with infertility.
mm,
So, like, it affected a lot, because he said when he went in for the very first time, some of the cysts they formed what they call chocolate cysts. It's like they've been there for a very long time. They are even now, the blood has turned brown. It looks brown like
hey.
chocolate, like yak. Yeah, so it did
Mm.
spread. So with me, it was just a lot of damage, and the ovaries were swollen. My ovaries were swollen. So that's why I had to go back for a lot of surgery after surgery, for
So,
me to say,
in
now
the
I feel
process of
better.
surgery, what were they doing? Were they removing those? Uh,
Yes,
okay.
they're removing the endometriosis, because it does stick to your to the organs on the outside. So what they do, they remove it. They try to clean the inside there
Mm.
and then remove it.
But like what you say, they cannot remove it completely. You have
The
to.
thing is that I'm still seeing my period. They can remove it, but remember, the endometrium tissue forms every month.
I get you. I get you.
Yes.
Sure, sure, sure. Yo, no, this is tough. This is really, really tough. So now you have to live with this disease every
Yeah.
day. What are your coping
Every day.
mechanisms? What do you do to manage through through
Uh,
the
a
disease?
person with a person living with endometriosis deals with chronic pain. Sometimes I used to have chronic fatigue, being the busy woman that I am. I used to
Mm.
have chronic
Eh,
fatigue whereby you have to sleep for days, you have to rest. So after I decided, okay, fine, let me read further, let me do research. I found out that there's food that I'm not supposed to be eating that cause inflammation in my
Okay.
case
Okay.
personally.
Mm.
So
Mm.
mostly I live on fruits and vegetables. I don't eat red meat
Mm.
anymore. And then carbohydrates, I limit as much as I can. Acidic
Mm.
drinks, I limit as much as I can. So the other thing that happens is that when the pain strikes, I know the warm bath helps me. I usually take a warm bath. I'll go sit in a warm bath with bath salt. And then I usually
Mm.
encourage the ladies that if you do not, even maybe some, they do not have bath salt at the moment, no money to buy That's all. Just buy the coarse salt and then
Mm.
use that in your bath water, and then it does relieves the pain. Even though it's not endometriosis, it's only the period pain that it's bad and it's not going away. The warm bath does help. And the other thing that I'm doing, I'm using the hot water bottle. I'm just keeping the area warm. You know, when we
Okay.
grew up, our grandmothers used to say, "Stay warm, stay warm." Like I'm keeping the place warm. So if I'm placing a hot water bottle here or I'm taking my warm bath, I do find that it gets easier.
Better.
And then with
Mm.
me personally, I found out that after changing my diet, the
Mm.
pain gets much better. The
Mm.
pain was just much better for me. Like I could handle it. And then, like before, I'd take a painkiller and then it wouldn't go away. Now it would be something minor that even maybe I take a painkiller, then I can manage.
Mm. Mm.
So I decided for my own self, let me just change.
The diet. Yeah. So diet
Yes.
is very, very crucial in this
Yes.
condition. It helps, from your experience, it helps a lot more than just taking, prescribed pills that they give you.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that, when you take in a lot of painkillers, they can also cause internal damage. A lot of
Mm.
painkillers, sometimes they can cause a problem with the kidneys if you take a long,
Yeah.
like maybe a lot over long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
they do cause chronic like very bad constipation. I used to have that. And then when I go to the doctor, they'll tell me that it's the painkillers that you're taking. You're taking in a lot of painkillers. But then I'm in pain. They're causing this very bad constipation that's now also painful. And then you
Mm.
also risk with that very bad constipation, you also risk developing a hernia or something. So also
Mm.
taking in a lot of painkillers
Mm.
can
Mm.
cause damage, can also cause you problems. So I had to find ways to reduce the number of painkillers that I was taking, because in a day I'll take 8 or more painkillers a day.
Ay, that's a lot. That's a whole
Mm.
lot of painkillers for one day.
For one
That's
day.
really, yeah, yeah, sure, sure. So how, for those of, maybe there as we speak now, there are women who are listening,
Yes.
who are going through some struggles with period pains, with bleeding of some sort that is maybe non-stop, struggling with infertility. They don't know what could be the cause, and have not identified or maybe been diagnosed with endo. What would you say are the symptoms of this particular disease? If a woman goes through certain symptoms, what could be those symptoms that might be,
That might be endometriosis.
yeah, that
That
might be
will
endo.
be that will be the extremely painful period pain that do
Mm,
not seem to be going away even if you're taking something.
mm,
Very bad bloating, also very heavy bleeding, chronic fatigue, and
mm,
problems with the bowel movements. Sometimes it's constipation, and sometimes you just develop this diarrhea out of nowhere. And then
mm,
sometimes you'll have painful urination, especially during the period. You'll find that when you go to relieve yourself, just when you are at the end, you'll feel pain in your bladder. And the other one is infertility. I did not know
mm.
that infertility is also a sign and symptom of endometriosis until I did the study.
Hmm. Hmm. So, what are you saying? If women happen to go through all these symptoms, and they are not doing anything about it, they should not really actually take it lightly. They should go and consult, because it might be that condition and they don't even know about it.
Yeah, what I tell people when I do this awareness, I'm saying we're not diagnosing anybody. We're not
Mm,
saying just because you're seeing this thing, it means you've got endometriosis. But then, from what I've learned when I speak to my doctors, is that very bad period pains, they are not normal. So what I tell them that if your period pain is very bad, if you're bleeding too heavily, you've got this bloating that you cannot explain, go see a doctor. Don't just sit on
Mm.
it. And you see it coming month after month. Don't just sit on it. Just go and see a doctor and see how far, like what they can help you with or what they say. And then do not be afraid to get a second opinion, because
Mm.
if somebody tells you there's no problem, rather go to another doctor to find, to say, but then at
Right.
least I did go to two doctors or three, and then I know that maybe it is something that will clear. But then what I tell people is that, you know, just listen to your body, you know yourself, you feel that something is changing, you realize some changes, don't sit on them, do something about them.
Mm, mm. Now, in a case of women who go through longer periods than normal, would that
Mm,
also be one of the symptoms? If you go, you know that, a woman cannot go for longer than, maybe 10 days or whatever. So if your period exceeds the normal amount of time a period is supposed to take, would you say that's one of the symptoms also?
That's also one of the symptoms, because when I explained my history to my doctor, when I told
Mm,
him, he said somebody should have picked up something from there. But then remember, the the female body is very complex. Say, like, there's a lot.
mm,
There's cancer of the uterus. There's, like I did say, at first they thought it's PCOS. It could be PCOS. It could be cysts and fibroids. So it could be
mm,
anything. But then also the long period of times, the bleeding for long periods of times, it's also one of the symptoms of endometriosis.
mm. Wow, wow, wow. Sure. Yeah, no, you said a mouthful. I trust that women who are listening to this interview, that if you are a woman out there and you're struggling with one of these symptoms, don't sit with it. Pay attention to it. Pay attention to your body, and go and consult, because you may never know what this thing is and what it can end
Mm.
up to. And as I'm listening to you, as when you started talking about this, you said it started from a very early age, but it was not diagnosed. You didn't know when it started. You were still young.
Yeah.
You were still very young, going to school, and it was only discovered later on. And I'm wondering that if it's discovered earlier, are there any, maybe, is there something that can be done to prevent it from going further till it affects you even in your adulthood, or affects all these organs in your body? Is there a way, maybe, let's say, they can detect it early in your life and stop it before it advances?
Okay, what I forgot to mention is that I've met a lot of ladies. Like I did say that I'm in the support groups for ladies living with endometriosis.
Mm,
Uh, the cases are different. And then, like I did say, it has got 4 stages, from stage 1 to stage
right.
4. And
Mm,
then it does not mean that if you are struggling, if you have endometriosis, you will not have a child. Other women, they do have children and they develop endometriosis later on. So
mm,
it's quite tricky. But then if they see it at a later stage, at an earlier stage, let's say they see
mm,
it at stage 2 and it hasn't
right.
caused a lot of damage inside, they can actually help you and you can conceive easier.
Oh,
So with
okay.
me, that's why I was struggling to conceive. It's like it proved to be so difficult because it already caused a lot of damage. Like it's been years. It
It
was
was
years. Remember, I miscarried.
advanced.
Yeah, I miscarried in 2007, but then the diagnosis only, and I started falling extremely sick 2016,
Mm,
diagnosis 2018. So it was
mm.
like I had this thing for a very long time.
Sure, sure, sure. Mm. Phew, I know this is really, hey, too much to take. I just feel for you, my sister. But I'm just happy that in the midst of what you are going through, you are such a fascinating woman. You are able to still live your life to the fullest. You are not using this disease as a way to hinder you or stop you from living your life to the fullest, and also even turning it in a constructive way to help others who may be going through it or who their loved ones are going through it. Now, as we are about to conclude this interview, can you just tell us about this campaign that you're doing? I understand you have a campaign where you speak to mothers and fathers, guiding them on identifying the symptoms of
Yeah.
of endo, and also to support daughters who are struggling with periods, and also speaking to couples, helping men to better even understand their partners, if they go through infertility, which can badly affect marriages, and
Mm.
relationships. How do you help people in this campaign? How do you go about helping and guiding people, like family members, mothers, fathers, daughters, as I said, through your campaign?
Siskele, being a very busy woman that I am,
Mm.
the diagnosis took me with a surprise. There
Yeah.
was a change, a very, 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 very difficult change, and then I had to adjust. And I saw this thing as an attack from the disease.
Mm.
I felt attacked, and
Sure.
then me being myself, I felt I have to fight back. Fighting back,
Mm.
I cannot fight something that I do not understand.
Mhm,
I had to
mhm,
go and study. I had to
mm.
go and read and know exactly what's going on
What you're
about me.
dealing with. Yeah.
And then I realized, this thing could steal a lot from a person. For example, with a couple, if you are married to a husband that's clueless, you start complaining that intercourse is painful.
Sure.
If the husband is clueless, in our communities, you'll get statements like they wanted marriage, now she's married, she's relaxing,
Mm,
only to find that the person has a problem. If there's periods for longer period, like the periods are coming for many days,
mm.
it could affect a couple. So
Sure.
I speak to that's why I invite guys also to this event so that they can
Mm,
listen. So if maybe as a couple they know that they are seeing something like this at home, or he is noticing something like this in affecting his wife, then he will know and he will offer the necessary support rather to say no, but then you did not, you were not like this before, what's changed?
mm,
Like
mm,
intercourse was okay, we were okay. Why is it now painful? Why are you always complaining? You see, so I felt this thing can affect marriages in that
sure.
sense. That's
Sure.
why I involve married couples to come in. I also involve men because I feel there are single fathers out there who need to better understand their daughters. There are
Mm,
fathers out there who are raising daughters alone. If you
mm,
see a child that now she's starting to complain about period pains to such a point that a child is missing school when it's time to see the periods, then you will know there could be a problem. She's not just faking it or something. They are not faking the pain. Do
mm,
something, stand up, be there for her. Because when when your health changes, your life changes, like it takes so much from you. It affects you so
true.
much
True.
emotionally. You
True.
need the necessary support rather than people saying no, the pain is
Mm,
in your head. No, every woman has period pains and stuff. You need people to understand exactly what you are going through. That's why I
mm,
also invite the males, the men to come in, the parents to come in. When you come in and you notice that my daughter now recently she's starting to sleep during the day, at night this child is sleeping, what's wrong? And you'll
mm.
find other parents, they'll start saying no, she's lazy, only to
Hey,
find that the
not
child
knowing, not
really there is
knowing.
something. So this is what I'm trying to
Mm,
bring to light, to say if you see something like this affecting your child or you see these changes, in your child, do something. Don't just sit on them. Because if
Mm,
we knew back then, maybe like they did take me to doctors because of the heavy bleedings and the long periods. But then I was told everything is okay. Maybe, just maybe, we could have went for a second
mm,
opinion. But
mm.
then I cannot say much on that. What I'm doing now is that, okay, fine, I'll use this to help the others. Let me
Yes.
rather
Mm,
help other kids. And then they do call me, Sis Fhulu, I'm in pain. And I'll ask them, did you use your hot water bottle? Did you change the diet? Like I said, are you
mm,
keeping warm? What are you doing? Are you resting enough? So
mm,
that's
mm.
what I'm doing with the campaign.
Wow, wow, great stuff, great stuff. You're doing a great thing. I mean, our community
Thank
also
you.
need to be empowered with
Mhm.
this disease since it's a very rare disease and not many people know about it. And I'm just amazed at how you've been able to turn it into a platform for empowerment for families, for couples, for the community. It's just absolutely amazing. Now, my last question to you: you are currently in a process of writing your first book on
Yes,
endo,
yes.
and it's called End of My Journey. When should we expect this book to come out? Because I believe it's going to help a whole lot of people, who don't know, who are not familiar with the disease. And also, I believe all that you shared about this disease is going to be in the book as well, so that many people can be empowered who may not know much or nothing about the disease.
About
When should we
ending.
be expecting the book to come out?
I could say just in a few months because I'm almost done. But then
Mm,
the thing that I found out about writing is that once you start and then something comes up, so I'm almost done, and then we should, I don't know, 2, 3 months, I'm done. I'm
okay.
almost done. Yes,
And are you going to make sure you let us know when the book is out so that we can
definitely.
also let our listeners and our viewers know that the book is now out? Then you'll come for the second round
I
where
will
we will now
definitely.
be unpacking the book, talking about
Yes,
the book. Yeah, because
I
as
will
Africa
definitely.
USA Radio, we just want to empower our people. It is our wish, it is our desire to to put the information out there, especially such information that people don't even know much about. So we'll really appreciate it if you can let us know so that we can also do our part to make sure that people are aware of it and even where they can get hold of you. Now, you are available also for speaking engagements, for bookings. Lastly, how can they get hold of you?
I am on Facebook.
Mhm.
My profile is Fhulufhelo Rambau, INNO,
Okay.
follow Fhulu Rambau Rambau. And
Mm.
I'm also available on the business line. You can contact me on WhatsApp 079 517 6806.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sis Fulu. It's been such a great pleasure chatting with you, and thanks for empowering us with this condition that we did not even know about that it existed. May God continue to use you to impact your community and the world at
Amen.
large, because on this platform is a platform where it can reach everywhere. So we are grateful, we are thankful. Thank you so much. May God continue to bless you and
Amen.
enrich you even more.
Thank you so much for having me, Sis Kelly. Thank you.
Thank you, my sister. That's where we'll end it. That was our powerful, dynamic sister, woman who is doing so much more in the community, empowering people on this rare disease called endometriosis. So you heard from her. If you want to book her, make sure you book her. If you want to know more about this disease, that's where we will end it. And until next time, this is me, Naomi Wesi, saying, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and give you peace. Till we meet again tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on Africa USA.